December 8th, in the Christmas story, How Winston Delivered Christmas. Chapter 8. Thinking Big Thoughts. Oh, bother, thought Winston glumly from upside down and tummy deep in a snowdrift. Then he felt a tight pinch on the end of his tail and found himself being plucked free from the snow. A shiver of dread shimmied down his whole body, and he squeezed his eyes tightly shut so he couldn't see who or what was pulling him free. I'm probably going to be gobbled up, he panicked. But no gobbling came. Not even a nibble. Instead, he was placed carefully on the ground. After a few seconds, he decided to be brave and peeked through his eyelashes. "Oh!" he squeaked, opening his eyes wide. What was standing in front of him wasn't a monster about to eat him up, but a pigeon. A big, plump pigeon who was looking at him with her head tilted to one side. "Oh, good," she cooed. "You're okay. I was ever so worried for a moment. I didn't mean to startle you and make you fall, but we were sitting up there." She flapped a wing in the general direction of a bare winter tree. And I said to myself, "Now what's going on there, Edna?" I'm Edna, by the way. "And I saw you start to climb up those windows, and I said, there's going to be a terrible accident in a minute. What with you being so tiny and climbing so high, and those windows in this weather can be very slippy. So I said to myself, I'm going to go and see what's happening. Didn't I, George?" "George!" Edna squinted up at the tree again. "Oh," she eventually continued, "he's still up there." Then she squawked, "George!" so loudly that Winston almost found himself knocked off his feet again. A couple of seconds later, a very sleepy and slightly grumpy voice came from the heights of the tree, accompanied by some fluttering. All right, all right. I'm on my way. Keep your feathers on." A short moment later, a robin landed next to Winston. Well, he thought it was a robin because it had lovely red feathers on its chest. But it was so plump, it looked like a small feathery tennis ball with a beak and two tiny stick legs coming out of the bottom of it. "This is George," said Edna. "I'm George," George yawned. "As I was saying," continued Edna, "we saw you and wondered what on earth you were up to. It's Christmas Eve. You should be tucked up asleep somewhere cozy." "Well, yes," said Winston. "But you see, I have a very important job to do tonight." He dashed over to fetch the envelope and showed it to Edna and George. He explained all about how he found it and that he needed to deliver it to Father Christmas at the North Pole before midnight. "That's when he set off to deliver all the Christmas presents across the world," Winston said. He glanced back up at the travel agent's window and sighed. "But the North Pole, awfully long way from here. According to that globe up there, it's across an ocean, and I don't think I'll be able to find a boat to get me there in time. It's already quite late." Saying that out loud, suddenly made Winston feel very sad and disappointed. If the envelope didn't get there, whoever had written the letter wouldn't have had a very happy Christmas the next day. Edna saw Winston's whiskers wobble and his ears going a bit floppy. He looked so forlorn and droopy. Well, she thought, that just won't do. Now, she said, let's not get ourselves down in the dumps. Every problem has a solution, doesn't it, George? George, who had been having 40 winks leaning against Edna, started, then quickly agreed with her. Oh, yes, he said, a solution. Edna wandered around in a circle, thinking big thoughts. Then let out an excited squawk. Oh, how silly I've been, she cried, fluffing herself up. Follow me. And with that, she started to walk very briskly down Mistletoe Street. Winston looked at George, and George looked at Winston. They didn't know what was happening, but they realized that the best thing would be to do as she said. Winston tucked the envelope under his arm again, and then he and George started off down the street after their friend. Are we going to the North Pole? Winston panted as he scampered behind Edna. No, cooed Edna, without slowing down. No need to go there, my dear. I'm pretty sure that Father Christmas is already here in the city.